All right, hello. Welcome back to another Classic Comics livecast. Okay, not a whole lot happening this week, actually, so this probably won't take too long. Please do, while you're here, do like the stream and sub to the channel if you haven't, and maybe check out some of my other videos after the stream. Okay, um, so the big story this week, I think, was the whole Paramount TV story. So let me bring that up right quick. Okay, this is from the Hollywood Reporter. All right, Paramount Global is shutting down its TV studio as the company embarks on a major round of layoffs. Paramount Television Studios will cease operations at the end of the week, President Nicole Clemens and Paramount co CEO George Cheeks told staff Tuesday morning. Clemens will exit the company, and all current series and projects in development at Paramount TV Studios, including Reacher, Time Bandits, and the upcoming Cross at Prime Video, will move under the CBS Studios umbrella. Paramount announced last week that it would lay off 15% of its U.S. employees on top of about 800 layoffs 6 months ago, as part of an effort to save $500 million in costs ahead of a planned merger with Skydance. Cheeks and fellow CEOs Brian Robbins and Chris McCarthy told staff earlier Tuesday that layoffs would begin that day and take place in 3 phases over the remainder of the year. Quote, as you're all aware, Paramount Global has made the difficult decision to close Paramount Studios or television studios as part of the company's broader restructuring plans. Clemens wrote in a memo to staff. This has been a challenging and transformative time for the industry, and sadly, our studio is not immune. Over the past 11 years, Paramount Television has weathered seemingly insurmountable obstacles through a combination of strength, determination, and unwavering commitment. We meet these challenges with incredible resilience, creativity, and passion for what we do, and I cannot be proud of our team. Yeah, thanks. In a separate memo, Cheeks noted that the shutdown of the studio, quote, is not a decision based on how Paramount Television performed. This move is the result of significant changes in the TV and streaming marketplace and the need to streamline our company. Clemens joined Paramount TV Studios in 2018 after working as an agent and manager in the executive ranks at FX. She added oversight of Paramount Plus scripted content to her portfolio in 2021. In addition to Reacher, co-produced with Skydance, Time Bandits, and Cross, Paramount TV Studios' current roster includes AMC's Interview with a Vampire. I keep forgetting that that's a show now. And upcoming shows Before and Murderbot. Hmm. So, I mean, again, we see the impact of the decisions that Hollywood studios have made over the last several years, with this move to streaming, which has been massively expensive. These Hollywood spent billions trying to set up this streaming model, and really these streaming services have, for the most part, never succeeded. They've never really been profitable. Now, I think last week it was mentioned that Paramount or no Disney Plus is finally reported as being profitable, but of course they had to basically bundle Disney Plus together with Hulu and something else. I forget what it was, but with a couple of other services in order for it to be, in order to show that it was profitable. And but other than that, no one except, I think, Netflix, who finally in the last few years have shown a profit. But yeah, I mean, it has cost them dearly. And then you've had their choices of leaning hard into woke content, for lack of a better term, that has driven a lot of their audiences away. And then, of course, last year we had the brilliant move of having two strikes, which shut Hollywood down for several months, which I'm sure didn't help either. Okay. Now, in a kind of a related story, let me bring this one up. All right. And again, this is also from the Hollywood Reporter. Once a cash cow, cable TV is now roadkill. Is a fire sale next? In September 2022, a few months before he unexpectedly returned to the Walt Disney Company, Bob Iger warned that, quote, a world of hurt was coming to the linear TV business. Sitting on stage at Beverly Hilton's International Ballroom, Iger told his interviewer, Kara Swisher, that linear TV and satellite is marching toward a great precipice and it will be pushed off. I can't tell you when, but it goes away. It now feels like, as of this week, the business has plummeted off that precipice. On August 7th, Warner Brothers Discovery took a $9 billion impairment on its linear cable channels. I talked about that last week. A move made in part because of the apparent loss of NBA rights and uncertainty around affiliate renewals. A couple of days later, Paramount Global took a, let me get rid of this. Okay, Paramount Global took a $6 billion charge on its cable channels, sparked by the valuation associated with the Skydance deal. $15 billion in value wiped out in an instant. Cable's iceberg has been melting for years. Iger, it should be noted, first warned that cable TV may have peaked in an infamous August 2015 earnings call in which he kind of put everybody's attention to the beginning of the decline. Bank of America's Jessica Rafe Ehrlich notes. But what has been a slow melt appears to have turned into almost total collapse. The cable networks are in this horrific, perennial, never ending decline, Ehrlich says. It's been more abysmal, I think, than almost anybody expected. Even just 2 years ago, when the handwriting was on the wall, we still thought it would be at a slower pace than it's actually been. The decline has been driven by cord cutting, but in recent quarters, the cable business has faced a double whammy. Not only are subscribers declining faster than carriage fees are rising, but advertising dollars are fleeing TV as the proliferation of ad supported streaming options provide new places for marketers to spend their budgets. Cord cutting has been a headwind for this linear television business over the past couple of years, and we're seeing no real signs of improvement. But the recent bigger challenge around U.S. linear advertising has taken the pressure up to a different level because now you have both of your revenue streams working against you, says Robert Fishman, a senior analyst at MoffettNathanson. So it's forcing these linear cable networks to really try to figure out what the future of them looks like from a cash flow perspective, given the challenges that they're facing from the broader ecosystem and what that does to their top line. So they're being forced to essentially cut back on expenses to help alleviate or try to alleviate some of that pressure. For the last 30 years, the entertainment business has thrived on the economics of pay TV as ever rising carriage fees and valuable ad inventory combine to create a business model virtually unmatched outside of the tech sector. But while some of those traditional entertainment companies are diversified, think Disney and NBC Universal, and others are more targeted, such as Fox Corporation, along with almost all revenue connected to sports and news. Warner Brothers Discovery, Paramount, AMC Networks, and others find themselves in a precarious situation. So, what happens next? According to analysts, the chaos is only just beginning. Cable channels could become the new newspapers, targets for investment funds looking to milk cash out of them for as long as possible. Or the cable channels could pursue a roll up either through an existing company or a third party. Somebody will separate their linear assets and somebody will roll them up, Ehrlich says. We have all these, call them stranded cable networks, may be part of bigger companies, but not an area of investment, not an area of growth. And so if you combine a lot of the cable networks, I think you get rid of corporate overhead. You can get rid of duplicative advertising functions, distribution. There's a lot of costs by combining. A roll-up could be run for cash. The problem is that the value of cable channels is in flux as the enormous impairment charges demonstrate. How fast will the pay TV systems disintegrate, and how low can the carriage fees go? Until there's more certainty around those answers, investors will hang back or wait for more opportunistic moments, like, say, a bankruptcy. I think all of the companies are going to look to explore different possibilities, but it remains to be seen what appetite within the marketplace there is for some of these smaller cable networks and willingness, and at what price outside investors want to look at valuing these assets, Fishman said. Paramount, despite the Skydance deal, is moving forward to try and cut deals. The set of assets that make up Paramount Global today were built up through the rise of linear, and while we have strong brands and businesses, we must reshape our portfolio to best compete in the future, said Paramount co-CEO Chris McCarthy. The assets under consideration are undeniably strong with exciting futures ahead, but will be better served on their own or as the centerpiece of another business. It is with that background in mind that the enormous write-downs can, ironically, give the companies a clear path forward. It gives them some optionality as they think about moving some pieces around, Ehrlich says, adding that, quote, the asset mix of many of these companies is going to have to change. Or as Bernstein analyst Laurent Yoon wrote on Paramount on August 9th, the $6 billion impairment charge sounds like a bad headline, but we think the book value of their goodwill is a remnant of prior deals. And the impending transaction with Skydance is an opportunity to face reality. Broadcast networks and live sports are in vogue, and entertainment is now firmly a streaming game. As for traditional players, streaming is just now beginning to turn into a profitable business. It is a path forward that may not be as lucrative as the old pay TV model, but one that can still work. There is a very significant other side of the coin here. Warner Brothers Discovery CFO Gunnar Wiedenfelds told analysts on August 7th, quote, this is really a distribution ecosystem in transition, not a content ecosystem. And we're using our content increasingly more successfully in the streaming space and less so on the linear side. We believe there's tremendous upside opportunity both in the direct-to-cable business and in the studio business, he continued. And it is enough to offset what's happening on the linear side. Now they just need Wall Street to buy in, and that will be no easy task. This remains a difficult space in which to invest, notes Macquarie analyst Tim Nolan in an August 12th research note. So, I mean, yeah, cable is dying, and it really struck me when I saw this image here, because what do you see? You see TBS, which really was just about the first cable, broadcast network, at least certainly the first one that was kind of nationwide, I think. It's one of the first ones I remember. And then, of course, MTV. I mean, just thinking that MTV is dying is just kind of, oh, hey, Adega. Hello, sir. Thanks for stopping by. Just thinking about MTV dying, man, it makes me feel old. It's hard to think of it that way, but MTV's a dinosaur, I guess, and a relic of the past. Hard to believe, but that's the reality of it. Okay. What next here? All right. Got another one here. Let me bring this up. All right. So, and this is another story from the Hollywood Reporter. The Hollywood Animation Guild and studios do not reach an agreement and add new negotiating dates in September. The Animation Guild and Hollywood Studios have scheduled additional negotiation dates for September after concluding a week of bargaining without reaching a deal, the Hollywood Reporter has learned. The union, which represents more than 5,000 animation workers and the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers, previously only allotted 1 week, ending Friday, to reach a new 3-year contract. But a consensus wasn't reached by that time, according to a source. Those continued talks will be closely scrutinized by members of the animation community, with many union negotiators calling this moment existential. This year, the labor group is prioritizing the regulation of artificial intelligence and preventing further outsourcing of LA studio work to foreign countries. Quote, "These are people's dreams that they've turned into careers that could be disappearing," writer and negotiations committee member told THR in a recent story about the negotiation. Quote, "So we really try to keep that in mind as we move into negotiations, that we are fighting for the livelihoods of our membership, for our careers and our dreams." The rapid deployment of AI, which is still curtailed by a vacuum in policy and copyright restrictions, is nevertheless projected to disproportionately impact animation in the coming years. A survey of media leaders commissioned by the Animation Guild and other organizations and released in January found that 29% of animation jobs could potentially be disrupted by AI in the next 3 years, which is the term of the union's next contract. With these talks in an uncertain environment, the union is attempting to hold the line for its members. This really, for us, feels like a do or die negotiation cycle. Writer and negotiations committee member Joey Cliff told THR at a union rally ahead of negotiations on August 10th. Complicating matters is the level of unemployment affecting the union, with layoffs hitting firms including Netflix and DreamWorks, and a period of austerity settling in industry-wide. The union has estimated that about 1/3 of its working members have been dismissed from their jobs in the past year alone. The parties began negotiations at the AMPTP Sherman Oaks offices on Monday. Yeah, so I mean, they're fighting a losing battle. I think the best they can do is really just kind of stem the bleeding, I guess you'd say. But I don't really see how the animators can win this, because, they can maybe get something done here, but, and what are they going to do? Kick it down the can basically another 3 years? But then what? Because by that point, I don't know. I mean, I'm guessing that within a decade or so, it's going to get to the point where Hollywood's going to start saying, we don't need these guys. AI can do it, and I mean that sucks. I don't have a solution for them. Hopefully, they can get something done, but I think in the long run, they're kind of screwed. Okay. What do I go with next here? Like I said, this is a pretty light week. There's not a whole lot. Okay, I'll go with this one. And this is from Bounding into Comics. Disney insiders claim former X-Men showrunner Bo DeMaio was fired due to issues related to sexual misconduct. Shortly after this article's publication, not only did Disney offer an official response to DeMaio's... Oh, wait, that's an update. Okay, hold on. In the latest development regarding the series' tumultuous behind-the-scenes drama, in response to former X-Men showrunner Bo DeMaio's allegation that the company stripped him of his season 2 credits because he shared a Pride-themed piece of fan art to his personal Instagram account, Disney has claimed... wait, what is this? Okay, they didn't word this well, but basically they allege that he was actually let go for sexual misconduct. DeMaio, who was booted from his role as series showrunner just days before its premiere for still as of yet unknown reasons, has put forth his accusations on August 15th. Taking to his personal Twitter, the former X-Men 97 boss asserted, quote, "Firstly, I'm so grateful to have worked on X-Men 97, collaborating with some amazingly talented folks. Creating this revival was a dream come true, and the support fans have shown is so touching. However, I felt it pressing for me to speak up in the wake of leaving the show. And you see the image here, basically him wearing shorts and Cyclops' visor and nothing else. Who would have guessed he was gay? I never would have. Sharing a screenshot of an Instagram post in which he shared a piece of fan art depicting him in a risque Cyclops cosplay and captioned it with the simple declaration, "Happy Pride, thank you," whatever, the artist's media handle, I think. DeMeo then alleged, above his X-Men fan art I posted on Instagram for Gay Pride in June. On June 13th, Marvel sent a letter notifying me that they'd stripped my season 2 credits due to the post, he added. Sadly, this is the latest in a troubling pattern I suffered through while working on X-Men 97 and the MCU's still in limbo film Blade. I wonder what he was doing on Blade. Unfortunately, outside of this initial claim, DeMeo did not provide any further details regarding this supposed interaction, instead closing out his thoughts on his next post by declaring, "I'll have more to say soon, but must step back from social media to find a safer space for me to be out, proud, and nerdy. Stay tuned." Notably, should everything go down as DeMeo has said, this move would, or should everything have gone down as DeMeo said, this would have come well after he departed the Disney offices. As such, this would mean that Disney's supposed decision to strip him of his credits is unrelated to whatever mysterious circumstances caused his original exit. As to just what involvement the showrunner had with regards to the X-Men's next outing, and clarifying the situation for a fan via Twitter, DeMeo explained, quote, "I did write a lot of season 2. However, unlike season 1, I will not be heavily involved or leading production, cast records, design, editorial, post, music, etc., nor doing any production rewrites as it relates to the creative vision of the show." Further, another interesting point is that DeMeo's revelation comes just a month after Deadline's Nelly Andreeva reported that, according to her sources, all the former showrunners' completed scripts for season 2 have been completely revised by Disney. Shortly after DeMeo made his post, Disney responded to his accusations via an official statement provided to The Hollywood Reporter. Quote, "Mr. DeMeo was terminated in March 2024 following an internal investigation," a Marvel spokesperson told the outlet. Quote, "Given the egregious nature of the findings, we severed ties with him immediately and he has no further affiliation with Marvel." According to THR's Aaron Couch and Boris Kitt, quote, "Sources say that following his exit, an agreement was reached between the two parties over the issue of tweeting about the show, something that DeMeo had continued to do. In light of the breaches, his credit for season 2 was removed. While no details of the cause of the termination of the internal revenues have surfaced, sources say it involved sexual misconduct." Okay, and then the update shortly after this article's publication. Not only did Disney offer an official response, but The Hollywood Reporter gleaned more information into the situation from their insider sources. The article has been edited. Okay, yeah, so the information's in the article. So sexual misconduct, I mean, that's, kind of vague. I mean, if it was a straight male, I mean, let's face it, you would probably think he was like hitting on a coworker or something like that. For a gay man, what's sexual misconduct? I mean, I'm not entirely sure. I've heard, I don't know how much of it's true, but I've heard that he had an OnlyFans. And maybe that's why. I mean, I don't know. And I mean, I haven't watched X-Men 97 because I don't have Disney Plus, but generally people seem to have liked the show. And it seems like it was, for the most part, playing, pretty, well, no pun intended, but pretty straight with adhering to canon and that sort of thing. Although I do think there were a couple of things here and there that kind of were implying maybe some same-sex relationships that aren't in the comics. But you know, I mean, it doesn't matter much to me. But I imagine there will be some people who like the show who will be sad to see him gone. Okay. Okay. We'll stick with I guess Marvel related stuff. So let me bring this up. Or Marvel adjacent. Maybe that's what I should say. And this is from IGN. Okay, Kraven the Hunter pits Aaron Taylor Johnson's vicious vigilante against the Spider-Man villain Rhino. The latest trailer for Kraven the Hunter is here, offering a first look at Spider-Man villain Alexei Sitsevich, better known as the Rhino. The footage sees Aaron Taylor Johnson's vigilante set out on a brutal and bloody mission in which he comes up against several formidable foes as he works through a list. One of those villains is Alessandro Nivola's Rhino, who shows up at 207 in the trailer to take on the feared bounty hunter during a chaotic stampede scene. Interesting. So is this it? I guess this is it here. So what did I say at 207? Yeah. So let's take a look here. Huh. So was that it? I guess that was it. I mean, it's so brief, you don't get to see much. Can I bring this? There it is. There you go. So now it looks like the way they're doing it here, it looks like that it's not a suit, right? Because in the comics, of course, the Rhino's a guy just wearing a suit. It looks like he's actually like a mutant Rhino man or something. I mean, I don't know. It's so brief, I don't want to say it looks bad or anything. I mean, it certainly is closer to the comics than, uh, you know, that Rhino we saw, was it in Amazing Spider-Man 2, where, what's his name? I forget the actor's name, but, you know, he's wearing some kind of big armored suit, like almost like it's a mech, you know, like a mech suit of some kind, which didn't, you know, just not even close to the comics. At least this looks like something close. I'd say I'd prefer that over that one, but I mean, look, this Kraven movie, it's gonna be, you know, it's who are they kidding? This is gonna flop. I mean, is there really any doubt? This is gonna flop, and I don't think it's gonna matter much one way or the other how good the Rhino looks in this movie. Sony is just, you know, to borrow a line from Blade, they're really skating uphill trying to spin all these Spider-Man villains off into their own movies. Yes, they've had some success with Venom, but you know, you can't just do that with any character. You know, and I mean, they just had a big flop with Madam Web last December, right? And really, aside from Venom and well, I mean, really, that's it. That's been their only success, has been Venom. Well, the Spider-Man movies are too, but you know, of course, they share that with Marvel, with the MCU. So, yeah, I mean, we'll see on this, but it's I mean, this movie was doomed before they ever even made it. I mean, how many, you know, when are they going to realize they can't, there's a limit to how much they can strip mine these IPs for movies and streaming shows. You know, I mean, you can't just take every character, every Batman related character, or every Spider-Man related character and spin them off into their own movie or series and think it's going to be successful. because odds are it's not. Now, I do think there are some Spider-Man related characters that could succeed if handled right. I think Morbius is one of them, actually. Um, if that movie had been, better or good, then I think that could have succeeded. And there are some others. And there are certainly Batman related characters that could survive as as a streaming show. Penguin is not one of them. But they just keep doing it because I don't know. I think it's just partly out of laziness and it's partly out of just like creative bankruptcy. They just don't know what else to do. Okay, speaking of creative bankruptcy, let's go to the next one here. Where am I at? I'm at 30 minutes. Yeah, this one will be fast. Okay, this is from Comic Book Resources. James Gunn reveals first look at DCU's Argus logo. Welcome to Argus. DC Studios co-CEO James Gunn has offered fans the first look at the government organization, which will be an important part of the DC universe. Shared on Gunn's Threads account, the logo for the DCU's Advanced Research Group United Support is pretty much identical to the one used for the DC Extended Universe, which itself was a faithful recreation of the logo used in the comics. After playing a major role in the events of several DCEU entries, specifically Suicide Squad. So the Suicide Squad movies, Peacemaker and Black Adam, Argus will continue to be a force to be reckoned with within the DCU. Although its involvement in Superman remains unknown, it'll probably be there, frickin' everyone else in the DCU's in it. The government organization is confirmed to be part of the upcoming series Creature Commandos and Peacemaker Season 2. And there's a good look at the logo. And I think they got a comic book cover here, yeah, where you see it there. Viola Davis is set to reprise her role as Argus agent Amanda Waller in the DCU, making her one of the few actors from the DCEU to be brought back in the same role. She appeared in 3 DCEU movies, Suicide Squad, The Suicide Squad, and Black Adam, as well as the first season of Peacemaker. Amanda Waller will be making her DCU debut in the forthcoming adult animated series Creature Commandos, which will take place after the Peacemaker Season 1 finale. Following the character, she assembles a new team made up of literal monsters. In addition to Creature Commandos, Emmett Davis's Amanda Waller is expected to be part of the... is this about Argus or is this about Waller? To be part of Peacemaker Season 2 before headlining her own series, Waller, of course, because we all wanted a Waller show. One of the 10 DCU projects announced by Gunn in January 2023, Waller was initially conceived as being set between the first and second seasons of Peacemaker. However, following the 2023 strikes, Gunn shared that Waller will now come after Peacemaker Season 2. It remains to be seen which DCU movies featuring the first appearance of Argus. While Davis was rumored to be making a cameo as Amanda Waller in Gunn's Superman reboot, her casting has not been confirmed. But the Creature Commandos will be in it. The first film installment in the DCU, Superman, will also feature Guy Gardner, Metamorpho, Hawkgirl, Mr. Terrific. David Cornsweet leads as the titular Man of Steel, Rachel Brosnahan co-starring as Lois Lane. It's not a big story, but it does show that Argus is going to still be around and she's going to be in it. But this speaks what I was saying a minute ago. Honestly, we don't need a Waller show. Just do a Suicide Squad show. I'm sorry, but Waller's not that important that she can carry a show on her own, I don't think. And I also think that really they ought to make a clean break with what's come before and recast Waller. Basically, I can see them bringing in Blue Beetle because he came in right at the end, and you can feel like that the character in his movie didn't get a fair shake. So I can see carrying him over, but really everyone else from the Snyderverse, DCU, whatever you say, they should all be recast or replaced. And that includes what's his face as Peacemaker, personally, I think, but whatever. I'm not personally really excited for Peacemaker season 2 either, but I don't know, maybe some people are. I know some people liked the show. Okay. Okay. Now here's an interesting little tidbit. Yeah, this one's going to be quick because I've only got a couple of stories left here. All right, this is from Bounding into Comics. Mark Wahlberg focused on $6 Million Man movie, calling it grounded and real. Mark Wahlberg is not one for superhero roles, but there is a hero he's had his eye on for years, and that's Steve Austin. No, not the wrestler. The original Steve Austin was a character made famous by Lee Majors in the action series The $6 Million Man, an all-time classic of American television. Wahlberg has been attached since at least 2014 to star in an update that's gone up due to inflation. Yeah, I'll bet. Thus, the film is being called The $6 Billion Man, though the story that comes with that price tag is virtually unchanged. The actor explained to Comic Book that's what drew him to the part in the first place. Quote, it's grounded and it's plausible, real. I mean, we're getting there. I don't know if you could say it's plausible at this point, but maybe in a decade, I don't know, 10, 15 years. There's lots of bionic technology and science happening right now. So this is something that has all the wish fulfillment of a superhero, incredible things. However, while he was passionate, Wahlberg doesn't want a costume. I don't want to have to wear one of those suits. I don't have the confidence to walk around in one of those. Hallie says, oh, you'd look great in one of those. And I said, it's not the physical appearance, it's the mental confidence to walk out of my trailer. Whether he gets a trailer or a set for this film is still in question. Development of $6 Billion Man has stalled several times. Yeah, I mean, I've been hearing about this movie off and on for, God, I don't know what, 15 years it seems like, maybe longer. Has stalled several times. In fact, it may go back to the 2000s, maybe. Has stalled several times because of a constantly revolving roster of directors and writers. When did he do that? When did he do that Planet of the Apes movie? Because it seems like it was around that time that I was first hearing that he was going to do $6 Million Man. Yeah, so that was a 2001 film. So yeah, it's probably been closer to 20 years that this has been kicked around. Still, Wahlberg believes the momentum is in his favor this time. You know what? I think there is finally hope for that to happen, he told Collider last year. And I think it's kind of actually a lot to do with this movie because hopefully Skydance will have the rights. If not fully buttoned up now, then very soon, and we'll fast track that movie to get made. So it's still not out of the fight. I'm still grinding every day to get it made. It's tough to get certain things made. It was an uphill battle, but I think certain ones are worth just seeing through to the end. Hopefully he reaches the summit of that climb sooner rather than later, or else his comments from 2020 will ring strangely prophetic. By the time it comes out, we're going to call it the 60-year-old $6 Billion Man, he joked. They'll have to change the title. At least then you'll know why. So, I'm kind of surprised that $6 Million Man hasn't already gotten a reboot at this point. I assume it's probably, legal hassles over the rights to the character somehow. But I don't know, man. I don't know if Wahlberg is the best choice. I like Wahlberg as an actor, but I don't know. I don't know if he's the guy I would pick to be Steve Austin. You could do worse, though. He'll probably be fine. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna wrap it up here. There's just one more story, so this will be maybe what, 45 minutes? Pretty quick. And I saw this story, so I thought I would mention it. So this is again from Bounding into Comics. Halloween star and iconic character actor Charles Cyphers, dead at 85. Many legendary actors and performers have passed on this year, and unfortunately, another can be added to the list. Charles Cyphers, who had a role in one of the horror genre's longest running franchises, has died. He was 85 years old. And there he is in Halloween Kills back in 2021. Halloween Kills. So Halloween Kills was the middle one in that trilogy they did. The actor's manager, Chris Rowe, verified his passing to Entertainment Weekly, stating Cyphers passed away comfortably in Tucson, Arizona, and that the family is requesting privacy. Cyphers is most renowned for playing Sheriff Lee Brackett in the original Halloween from 1978 and two sequels. So that would be then what, Halloween 1, and he was in Halloween 2 as well, I think. So I guess the other sequel would be Halloween Kills. The first film marked his second collaboration with director John Carpenter. The pair's working relationship started with Assault on Precinct 13 in 1976 and continued into the 80s for classics such as The Fog, wherein Cyphers played a character named after Alien writer Dan O'Bannon. I didn't know that. Carpenter paid tribute to his friend and colleague on X. Quote, Charles Cyphers has passed away. He was an early and frequent collaborator with me on my early films. A kind man, he was a friend. I shall miss him, he wrote. Before he made his name in horror, Cyphers began his career with small roles in blaxploitation films and on TV with appearances on Charlie's Angels, The $6 Million Man, The Bionic Woman, and Wonder Woman. He continued getting recurring and guest spots on popular series through the 90s. His earliest small screen success came in '77 with the recurring role of stunt double Hugo Muncie on The Betty White Show. 2 decades later, he played the noteworthy part of a cranky woodshop teacher on the WB network sitcom Nick Freno, Licensed Teacher. Boy, that's a name of a show I haven't heard in a long time. Cyphers spent decades working alongside a variety of stars from Jamie Lee Curtis to Clint Eastwood and Chuck Norris, but he entered retirement in 2007 and stayed away from Hollywood until Blumhouse brought The Shape back for one more scare. Thus, he reprised Brackett in his final film, Halloween Kills. Charles was an incredibly lovable and sensitive man. He always had the best stories, and you got a full performance. Well, he told you he was a close friend and client for over 20 years who will be dearly missed, his agent Rowe said. Tributes have been pouring in all over social media, and Rowe promises, quote, a celebration of life ceremony will happen at a date and location to be determined. Yeah, so that's too bad. But I mean, like they say, there's been a lot of big Hollywood names that have passed away. And that's probably just going to, I mean, the fact of the matter is that, a lot of these big Hollywood stars, particularly the ones that I grew up with and, in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, they're getting up there and they're going to start dropping. In fact, I'm amazed some of them are still around. I mean, what's keeping people like Pacino and De Niro and like Mick Jagger still going? I don't know how Jagger's still alive. Okay, well, that's it. So I'll go ahead and call it a night. I want to thank those who tuned in for the stream and those who will tune in on a rewatch. And also, please do like the stream before you go and sub to the channel. And also, please do check out some of my videos. I should be back on Tuesday evening, this coming Tuesday, for another Trek Talk. I'll be looking at the original Star Trek episode, Tomorrow is Yesterday. So I guess I will see you all then. Until then, have a good evening.